Am I the a-hole for telling my pregnant sister that her husband can't sleep at my house and in turn kicking her out too? My 30F pregnant sister, 34F, and her husband, 42M, planned 2 weekend trips to visit me on the West Coast, also as a pit stop to get to and from Hawaii. My sister, Jane, is pregnant and this trip is their baby moon. Jane's husband, Charles, my husband 31M, Victor. Background: I don't like how Charles speaks to or treats Jane in general. Charles often argues and raises his voice at Jane throughout the day about trivial things. I've talked to Jane about his behavior before and she's told me, I realize how he sounds when he talks to people, we fight about it all the time and I think he needs anger management. It always ends with her apologizing or making excuses. Weekend 1, the entire time we spent with Charles was quite exhausting and miserable for me. He argued with my sister multiple times. When Victor speaks, I can see Charles rolling his eyes, nudging Jane's elbow, and whispering snide remarks to her. He seems to think these all go unnoticed by us. He usually talks down to me, cuts me off, and enjoys flaunting his knowledge. My brother, mom, and some cousins also find him a difficult person to be around. Charles and Jane leave my house and the next day I am overwhelmed by the stress and how uncomfortable Charles always makes me feel. Victor finds me crying and thinks they should not come back to sleep in our home because it is so stressful for me, but agrees we should still hang out with them out of our house. I cried about it because I don't want to put my sister in a difficult situation, especially with her being pregnant and trying to enjoy a vacation. I end up telling Jane how I feel. Charles is rude/disrespectful to you, me, and Victor. I still want to spend time with you while you're in town, but I need separate time to decompress after being with Charles. I love you but this is the boundary I need to set for this dynamic to work. She cries and says if she doesn't sleep here, she will need a break from me. I apologize to her and emphasize this is about needing a break from Charles, not Jane. Both during a phone call and text. Charles calls me and it goes terribly. He talks over me. He tells me he is disappointed because I am not supporting my sister's pregnancy by not allowing him to sleep at my place. Jane is bringing life into this world. Our feelings aren't what matter, Jane is what matters right now. If we don't sleep there, we won't be seeing you. Weekend 2 starts today. I haven't heard from Jane. Will I be the a-hole if I rescind a job offer that I previously gave a young girl? I, 25, am a general manager at a frozen yogurt shop. I am not the owner, but I have been with them since I was a teen and worked my way up to my current position. It's been the perfect job to pair with my classes. As the general manager, I do the scheduling as well as the hiring. The owners trust my judgment and let me hire/fire at my own discretion. Last week I hired a girl, 16, from the local high school. She was extremely sweet and showed a willingness to work. Seems a little on the quiet side but this being her first job I think it's expected to an extent. There were zero tell/mentions that she may be special needs. 2 days after hiring her, she's not supposed to start until this upcoming week. Her father came in and introduced himself to me. He was polite, and thanked me for hiring his daughter and left his phone number, telling me to call him after I'm off. I was confused by this as I've never dealt with a situation like this. But I did call him. He thanked me again but then said his daughter has severe anxiety and a slow learner and that I need to make special accommodations for her. Here's what they are. Do not schedule her for more than 3 hours at a time. Please allow her as many as she needs 10-minute breaks when she starts to appear overwhelmed. He said that if it is very busy, it is better to just let her sit in the back room and watch YouTube. Her school comes first, which I understand, but he said when she has significant homework she will need to call off. Give her plenty of compliments and let the other staff know to go the extra mile to make her feel welcome. If she does make a mistake, not to discuss it with her but to call him. I don't know much about employment law and not sure if I could be in legal trouble, but like every state we have at will employment. I called the owner to tell him about this and he said to use my discretion. I want to call the father back and say I cannot make these accommodations, and if she does need these accommodations I will have to rescind the job offer. I feel for the girl, like I said she was very sweet. But at the same time I do have a business to run, I'm not a special ed teacher. What is the point of hiring her when I will need to be overstaffed to accommodate for her? I just can't do it. So right now I'm thinking calling her dad tomorrow and letting him know that she will be treated like every other employee and if this won't work for her then she cannot work here. Would I be an asshole for that? Am I the a-hole for not having ibuprofen at home? So I, M24, have been with my girlfriend, F29, for about 6 months now. We go to each other's places frequently and sleep at the others occasionally. So last week, she slept over and woke up with period cramps. She asked for ibuprofen, and because I only had 2 pills, I have her those. I don't really use ibuprofen much, because I'm generally not very prone to pain apart from headaches, but those I used omepyrine for. Apparently those 2 pills weren't enough for her and she got really upset at me. She said I should have ibuprofen at home, that it's a basic necessity and that I should have it especially because she needs it frequently for her cramps. I don't see a reason for me to have large amounts of ibuprofen at home, I don't need it. She's the one who does. Now I asked some friends and they said that since I know she needs it, I should have some at home for her. I feel like if she needs it, she should take it with her instead of me having to provide it. Am I the a-hole for forcing my brother to buy me a new engagement ring? I'm 26M, proposing to my girlfriend, 24F, on our 4th anniversary, September 30th. I've been planning this for about a month, and I picked the ring a couple weeks ago. The one I got was on sale, so I managed to get it at a surprisingly low price. Last weekend, I told my brother, 33M, about my plans, and showed him the ring. He informed me that he was proposing to his girlfriend, 29F, as well. The next day, my brother came to my apartment while my girlfriend was out. He asked me if he could borrow my ring to propose to his girlfriend. I thought he was joking at first, but no. His plan was to propose to his girlfriend, explain he was using my ring as a placeholder and then take her to pick her own ring later. His reasoning was that he didn't want to spend too much money right away in case she didn't say yes. I'd never heard of placeholder rings, so I said no and the conversation moved on. On Tuesday, he proposed to his girlfriend. With my ring. He'd taken it before leaving my apartment. I got distracted at work and didn't notice it was gone until his fiancée sent a picture of herself wearing the ring to our family group chat. I called him to ask about the ring, and he immediately apologized and said he'd keep his promise and give it back to me. But at this point, my girlfriend had seen it and his fiancée had posted about it on social media, so it was pointless for me to propose using the same ring. We fought about it, and he confessed that while he told his fiancée the ring was a placeholder, he didn't tell her where he'd gotten it from. I felt more angry and betrayed about him going behind my back and taking the ring after I said no than the fact that he stole it. I also know his fiancée enough to know she wouldn't like to learn her engagement ring had been stolen from me, so I told my brother I'd tell her the truth if he didn't buy me a new engagement ring. He fought against it for a few hours, but finally gave up and agreed. We went to a different jewelry store yesterday, and I picked a new ring. I managed to stay in the price range, but the new one was still $100 more expensive. My brother bought the ring, but is still accusing me of being inconsiderate and childish. He is insistent he would have given me the ring back had I given him the opportunity, and I didn't need to threaten him to spend so much money on me. He's now refusing to talk to me. I don't know how to feel about this anymore. I'd usually talk to my brother about these things, and it's surreal that he's the one I'm fighting. I can't tell my fiancé, and many of our friends overlap. The only other person who knows about this is our mom, who's divided. She thinks what my brother did was wrong and I'm right to be pissed at him. But I didn't have to stoop as low as I did by threatening his relationship. Am I the a-hole for telling one of my daughter's classmates' moms to fuck off about what I put in my daughter's lunch? No names in this story are real. For some context before the story, I, 38F, cook Asian foods regularly for dinner and for my daughter, Lily's, 7F, lunches at school. This is because my family enjoys these foods, I like to cook these foods, and my mom cooked a bunch of these foods growing up since she's half Japanese. Oftentimes I'll either give my daughter some leftovers from last night's dinner, plus a fruit/veggie and a snack, or I'll make her a quick little bento box or some other thing really quick. So, after school one day, my daughter wanted to play on the playground for a bit before we went home. I said she could play for a few minutes, and she ran off to play. I was waiting next to this other parent, who we'll call Deborah. While I was waiting, Deborah came up to me. "Deborah, are you Lily's mother?" Me, "Oh, yeah, I am. Why?" Deborah, "Well, your daughter's lunches have been bothering my son, and I would like to ask you to pack something else." Me, "What? How are they bothering him?" She then proceeded to start talking about how her son was complaining about my daughter's lunches smelling terrible, and that he thought it was disgusting. She also said her son didn't eat most of his lunch because he was so grossed out. Me, "Okay, I understand your son doesn't like the smell, but can't he just sit somewhere else?" Deborah, "Are you kidding me? My son shouldn't have to put up with whatever crap you make your daughter bring to this school. It's disgusting." And she started making more vaguely racist complaints, but I was fed up at this point. Me, "Listen, I understand your son might not like my daughter's food, but he can very easily just not sit next to her. I'm not changing what's in my daughter's lunches because you and your kid don't want to exist near Asian food. Fuck off." She angrily stomped off with her kid then, and my daughter finished playing soon after, so we went home. I talked to my husband about it, and he said that maybe I shouldn't have told her to fuck off, to avoid her bothering us in the future.